Hello, Ubers of the Tubers. Let's pick up where we left off. The last video was kind of weird, because I'm kind of weird. Plus it was 3 a.m. Look at this crystalline structure that we got. I told you about the solution. We've got our saltpeter and sugar. And we could have been in a hurry and just heated the chemicals and made a pyrotechnic mixture without looking at it, but by letting it take its time. Look at this crystalline structure we formed here. And there's a lot we can learn from this beyond just that it will burn. Okay. Let's take a look at this experiment, the dangerous experiment. Look what it's yielded. A partial reaction, partial oxidation. We don't know what we're going to get, but it'll make a crystalline solution, and we'll see when it dries out what we can get. Pretty interesting how it turned out. Some manganese compounds at the bottom, liquid on the top there, and of course our clear solution over here. Let me tell you real quickly about this crystalline structure and what all, that camera to focus there, what all we can learn from it. Look at that. That's cool. Crystals. Look over here. This is a piece of galvanized metal, and the light, gotta get the light right on it, but it has some similarities to that. Galvanizing is a layer of zinc, among other metals, heated or electrically plated over steel. It resists corrosion, and it gives you this crystalline pattern called spangling. So the alloy is what we're dealing with here, and this is no different than an alloy. It's just that it has a much lower melting temperature, and it's dissolvable in water, so we can let water be the solution. That's why water is called the universal solvent. But it doesn't solve everything. So with this metal here, I want to explore a word real quick here. The word is eutectic. It's a Greek word. And it means easy melt. Oh, that was easy. And what that means is, oh, here we have gold. No, we don't have gold. It's brass, okay? Brass is made of copper and zinc, okay? And copper has a very high melting temperature. Zinc has a low melting temperature. When you make an alloy out of them, you would expect that you'd have to get it to the highest temperature, the temperature of the copper, to melt it. But as it turns out, when you have the proper mixture between the two materials, you can get a eutectic alloy that has a lower melting temperature than the original, than the high melting temperature, the copper. So this will melt at a lower temperature than this, even though it has mostly like 85% copper in it. Zinc, we have an example of zinc here. Look right here. I carved into this. Oh, look at there. Come on, focus, focus. There, you see that? Now, I'll point out that this is not defacing currency. There's his face, Honest Abe, okay? You can still read all the letters. 'Tis but a scratch. And it's on the shield anyway. Adds character, I say. But a penny is actually zinc, and it's copper coated. Now, do you know why they... And when I say they, I mean the Catholic Church made alchemy punishable by death? Because if they actually succeeded in making gold, it would undermine the value of the currency and undermine the wealth of the church. Not because it's weird or creepy, even though it kind of is. So now you know about that. And you know about zinc, eutectic alloys. And I consider this crystalline structure to be an alloy. But of a different nature. So here's what I propose for the next vidya, and I want you guys to decide. In keeping with the experiments of Dr. Emoto, Dr. Emoto was a Japanese fellow, I believe, and he did these water experiments with intention, words. And when the water froze, it would change the different crystalline structures. And you can put water in rice and cook the rice and bless one and curse the other, and one would rot and one wouldn't. And it's been repeated many times, and more often than not, it works. What I would like to do is pick up where he left off. He passed away. I'd like to pick up where he left off, but put that intention into this crystalline structure, which contains water. And what I'd like to do is an experiment where we take these two fluids and take the experiment that is now double and make it into 4. And have 4 clear glass panels and let these materials dry out, 2 of which will be control samples, and the other 2 will be subject to sound. But I want you, the viewer, to post in the comment section what kind of sound you want to expose these materials to as the crystals form, as the fluid dries out. Do we want to use words, written words, spoken words? Do I want to bless one and curse the other? Do I want to expose it to a set frequency of sonic vibration, maybe 800 hertz or something on each one, or something like that? Do I want to expose it to music? Play Metallica for this one and classical music for that one? I don't know. I want you guys to tell me where this experiment goes with intention. The intention of the crystalline structure, and we can compare crystalline structures. I have a great microscope. We can compare the crystalline structures of this pyrotechnic explosive compound and see if intention changes the shape of the crystalline structure. And that'll be a scientific experiment at the crossroads of spirit. And I think that will work in alchemy. I think that's close enough. Now, before I let you go, in the last video, it was like 3 in the morning, and I get a little worked up. I've had like 5 cups of coffee now. But anyway, in the last video, I described the motion of the sun and the earth in an incorrect manner, but at the same time, it was useful for the purpose of perspective. So we know now that the earth goes around the sun. Okay. But what we don't know is what's inside the sun. How does it work? Maybe we can explore nuclear fusion with the concept of alchemy, as above, so below. I want to show you something. Here's a candle flame, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but look what we can do with a candle flame. Watch it very closely with this screen mesh. Watch it very closely. Very closely. There. You see that? The candle flame is hollow. It's kind of hard to see, but it's hollow. You see, the combustion only occurs in a shell around the candle flame. The inside of the flame is just vaporized wax. So maybe in keeping with the Hermetic idea of as above, so below, how does the sun work? Maybe the hydrogen and the helium reactions, the nuclear combustion is in layers. And the sun's actually hollow or has a solid core or something. And so as you go through these layers, you have hydrogen, and it gets closer and closer. And we know gravity is like magnetism. And the closer you get, the stronger it gets. And sooner or later, the hydrogen fuses into helium and releases energy. There's your fusion. But then fusion makes a product, helium, and the helium sinks further in with more gravity, and the helium goes in, until it builds up enough heat and pressure that it cracks, boom, fission. And then the hydrogen goes back out, and back and forth and back and forth. And maybe the nuclear reaction of fusion and fission is in this layer. And as you go further in, we don't know what's in there. Maybe it's a metallic hydrogen core, or maybe it's just plain hollow. We don't know. And I don't think we'll ever know, because how the heck are you going to get in there? But we might know the day scientists figure out how to really get a good fusion reactor, one that's economically feasible. Anyway, those are just some thoughts on the subject. I bet there's scientists that know a lot more than I do on that. This is alchemy, not astronomy, but we should not be ignorant on that either, right? Of course. Of course. So finish up your concepts. Write them in the comments section. Tell me what sound we're going to implement on these crystals to see if it changes the crystalline structure. Thank you, and have a great day.